New trading day. All right, it's no news Tuesday, and I believe no news at least. Let's check that real quick. So we have, no news. I believe tomorrow is FOMC, so which could predict a little bit worse price action for today. Yesterday was also decently bad price action. Like yesterday, I was correct with my buys, but I took a loss because I wasn't able to hold through this job, So I'll go real quick actually through the trade. So you can see that from my previous video, but I took a short here, had my stop above here, targeted the data lows, equal lows here. It would have been a perfect trade, as in that I was correct with my bias, and if I had my stop above this high, I would have actually been safe. So I would say this: if I'm going to take a trade today, it's probably going to be something where my stop will be very large. I will give a lot of room for price to breathe, mainly because I understand that today could be a little bit worse price action due to FOMC coming tomorrow. But I still want to take the trade if I see very good setup. I just have to give I have to give breathing room. So that's pretty much the case. So I will remove all the excessive stuff here, and let's start from the blank canvas. Let's see what we have, what we are working with. 8:30 opens here, we trade lower. Midnight open here, we trade about, go lower. For our low could be targeted here easily. That could be like the first sell side target. Let's quickly go back to daily chart. So we inverse this daily fair value gap. That's a CP. So inverse that. Now we could use this as inversion and kind of bounce off higher from this. So this could be an area to bounce back higher. We do have relative equal highs above here. So we could see a reaction higher from here. And we can still see this market respect this as a bullish inversion, but trade first lower and then close the body inside of the gap back. Sorry. So yeah. Real quick look at ES. It's much more bullish. I like that for ES because that's probably. The thing is, it's not much more bullish. It's a little bit more bullish, which I like because again, if we put on a sweep of the low here, ES might not take it, and we would have a SMT or generally just ES is more bullish, and if I want to go long, then ES would make the case for longs, and that would also make me more kind of confident that NQ could also go bullish, even though it doesn't look as bullish as ES. But yeah, let's. I'm actually not going to keep this. It's a little bit too much clutter for me, but I know that that's there. All right. One thing I like to look at is, or I think I should start looking at more, is this previous first percentage fair value gap. So, for example, here the first percentage fair value gap is this one. So that's the yesterday's first percentage fair value gap, and we expect. I expand that to the right, and let's see how we are trading. So that's actually something very interesting. Look, that's just minor 1 minute area, Yet we are respecting that like very nicely here, tap into that absolute perfect reaction out of that. Very sensitive still, even though it's old 1 minute PD array. So that's actually something that I haven't really looked at much recent or previously. But recently I have been trying to see if these kind of areas can work more. Thanks to ICT, of course. He's teaching all of this. All right, so this is certainly an area to look at. So Monday's first fair value gap. That's pretty good. Good thing there. Let's see where all the new week opening gaps, new day opening gaps line. New day opening gap up here. We are looking at this. Market is probably going to drop to this new week opening gap minimum. And it's actually happening now because market opened 9:30. All right, and we got a bunch of these new day opening gaps, but I don't really care about them that much. Like, if they are very cluttered and nice, like, how I would say is, if we had like massive amounts of new day opening gaps above here, like this stacked, I would expect market to trade there. That's one way of looking new day opening gaps and new week opening gaps, but you know, looking at new week opening gaps, we don't have any to the downside. We have lots to the upside. We are now reacting actually away from the new, or we are likely, or we could possibly have a reaction out of this new week opening gap. But I would prefer to see maybe even a sweep below the low and then trade higher. So we'll see what happens here. That's what I want to see here. And yes. Also, well, you can see how yes, the new week opening gap is very far down. It's nowhere near that, whereas NQ has already traded past that. So this is interesting for me, in my opinion. But we'll see if we can actually catch some type of long, considering all these highs. Alright, so right now it seems like we are dropping heavily below the low, and this is when we are printing fair value gaps below the low like that. I'm thinking of continuation lower, so we're probably going to get something like minor retracement and then big drop, possibly. Like, we got a lot of equal lows here. Some internal equal lows here are these ones. So this is actually very good liquidity pool. So if we can put on like a retracement before hitting the sell side here, I will take a short. Now it would have to be at around that sell side. I would have to have my stop right there and target around 1 to 1.9. But seems like we are just melting right now, so there's really no way of me getting into this trade unless we see like a proper retracement around now. Alright, so now we see quick move lower, below the lows here. And really no trade. I wasn't really expecting anything, but that was just like something in my head that if we end up putting like equal lows and retracement, I would then 100% get in, but obviously didn't happen now. All right, so is there any ideas now? Well, if we do see like a nice fair value gap on top of this low, I don't know if I'm willing to actually get short, but that's nice confluence for that. First percentage fair value gap is up here, so that could be a target for possible retracement. Keeping that in mind. Certainly we are way too fast right now. Volume imbalance. We're kind of close to it right now. Market is probably going to just melt towards these areas. So keeping that in mind. Some relative equal lows here. Keeping those in mind as well. Alright, so this is a little bit interesting. So we had a liquidity pool here and market just fails to take that. So I'm thinking of shorts to that pool. But we'll see if we can actually spark some type of retracement higher or if this is just a point to reject again. So like technically if you wanted to get into shorts, maybe this could be like a scenario of a possible short. I don't like it because the structure is kind of choppy here. If we inverse this, maybe that could be like an inversion trade, but that wouldn't be as great because that would be only like 1-to-1. So I don't really know. We'll see how that would look like. Yeah, I don't really see the point in this type of trade. If this inversed, I wouldn't still take that because it's a little bit too like vague. So, but yeah, here we bounced off a fair value gap and broke structure here. So I'm thinking we are probably going to drive into this 15 minutes fair value gap. That's your best bet currently. Alright, so I actually took a real quick trade here. Very low risk, so I don't really care about the. I mean, I do care about the outcome, but if this loss, it's not so big a deal. But I see this as the buy side for price because we broke structure here and we got the 15-minute liquidity pool. So that's the reason why I'm kind of thinking of that. Alright, so well, that was quickly done and dusted. But yeah, that was kind of the idea. I understand that it's not maybe the greatest idea ever, but I just wanted to try that out.